Hi, and thanks for watching this video.
Roxy's book is actually for 7 to 11 years old. So this is before you go to secondary education. But actually, I've had people recommend it for 5-year-olds as well. It depends on the reading ability of the child. However, the adult reads with the child. So let me go through a little bit of detail here about what this book is. And then we're going to talk about how it fits. Okay? The book is a storybook. Okay? At the very beginning of the book, there's a statement that says this book belongs to, and there's a space for the child to write their name so they have ownership of the book. There's a guide. There's a guide that takes you through how to use the book. You ask the child what they already know by going through a survey, and there's some simple instructions there on how to use it. There's also some contact information if you find yourself in any situation where you need to have access to services in the UK, and there's some links in there for you to call. Mental health support from the NHS, Young Minds, and some helplines. You can just put your postcode in and it will find local services for you. We have a survey at the very beginning of the book. Now, what we're doing here with our book is we're measuring 3 things. It's really important that we're able to measure these things because we want to measure improvement. And the 3 things that we do with this book is we raise awareness for the child and the adult about mental health. Because once you know it, then you can do something with it. We reduce stigma so that it's more acceptable for you to talk about it. And we encourage resilience. So that's being able to give the child the ability to bounce back. Those are the 3 things that we want to do with this book, and it does. And the way that we're going to start to understand how to do it is we're going to measure these 3 things. So there's about 9 questions at the very beginning. There's the beginning there, a couple of questions, you just fill in the answers, what do you know? And we're just trying to create a baseline so we know where we are. And then there's a total, we fill in the total. So we've got a figure, we've got a score from the very beginning. Where are we starting from? As I said, it's a storybook. So it's a story about a dog called Roxy. And the dog goes through some experiences with her mum, who's also a dog, and her friends who are different animals. And throughout the stories, there are highlighted emotional and feeling words. The stories have an emotional high. They're very simple stories. They're everyday experiences. There's nothing traumatic in there. They are designed in order for you to have that space where anybody can empathize with these situations and imagine them and imagine being in those situations. So we have an emotional high in the story, and then we don't go any further, we diffuse it, and then we have a happy ending at the end of every story. But throughout the stories, there are these emotional words. And what we do with these emotional words is we're giving emotional vocabulary. So children are able to talk about their emotions and their feelings. We have a glossary inside the book. So it's about 9 pages of emotional, those highlighted words and more and their meanings. So we give the emotional vocabulary so that children, as I said, can talk and express how they feel. It's a very important thing. At the end of every chapter, we have exercises, and this is where the book comes into its own. We have exercises which help we first decide, this emotional story, it's emotional words, so we establish that there is an understanding, comprehension of the story. And then we have other questions which are about empathy, understanding the feelings of the characters in the book. And then we have questions which tease out the emotional responses from the child. So we have an opportunity for the child to disclose how they feel or if they have been in those situations. So it's all very, very subtle, and the questions are there for you to ask. But actually, one of the things is that as adults, we don't really know. We were all children once, but we don't really know what it was like or what it's like for children today. We can't. They've got smartphones, social media, different influences, the telephone, the television, the internet. I only had 5 channels on TV when I was growing up. They've got a whole load of stuff that they're influenced by. But the thing is, as a child, the feelings of frustration or anger are the same feelings that we had and we have. So what we can do is using this story, and empathizing with the characters' feelings in the book, we can disclose how we dealt with those emotions and feelings when the child discloses how they feel. It's talking therapy. Yeah, it's being able to talk about your emotions and feelings. It's not an easy thing for some people to do. And certainly for children, as they get older, they don't want to talk about their emotions and feelings because it's not cool. We also have at the end of the exercises, if anything is disclosed, we've got space in there for you to create an action plan. So you can write down any comments. You've been talking with the child, and you can say, okay, well, we found this out. So what should we do? What are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do, who's going to do it, and when are we going to do it? And you can action this before you start the next chapter. So we're actually doing something constructive to support the child. And at the very end of the book, each chapter has a different moral, if you like. Yeah, there's a learning process throughout. In fact, the last chapter is probably the most important because it's actually about belief. Yeah, having belief in yourself. But actually, when you finish the whole book, there's another survey similar to the one at the beginning, and we take exactly the same questions and we get the totals. We ask the questions again, we total them up, we have the previous totals, and we can measure a change. Because those questions are designed, they're about awareness, they're about stigma, and they're about resilience or empowerment. So that's what the book is about.
So please do check out Roxy Says You Are Here on Amazon, or go to the website www.mind-angels.com, and thank you so much for listening.